Oh my gosh, first of all, profusely apologize for the late start. I'm not gonna lie, this time around, there were no flies. I wasn't chasing flies or anything like that. But yeah, to get the show on the road, man, let me get the queen in so we can get the show on the road. Boo, 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 boo. It's too
Come
far, it's
on.
there.
Let me
This
do
studio of
something.
mine is Dodge.
I'm also in
This
a very
studio
dodgy
is
place.
Dodge.
So horrible.
Yeah. And by the way, to you watching at home, yeah, we profusely apologize for the late start. We had a couple of things that we had to get in line, okay, to make sure that things happen. It is the second season, episode 26 of the
26.
Slyso TV podcast. Yeah, 26. We've
Yeah.
been appearing. Hey, we're here. Yeah, we're here.
Okay.
How's the queen doing?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. Let me not lie. I'm good.
You sound like you in doubt.
I wanted to make an excuse then be like, I'm good, all right? No, I'm fine. I'm good.
You don't have any excuses because you don't have any excuses because I looked at the work that you were putting out,
Yeah.
that you finally registered all your students.
Yes.
Yes, 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 yes. I want to hear about
Yes.
that.
You know how excited I get with the new year because it means the new cohort, first years. Amakala, Ekaleni, the babies
Mhm.
must come in and be welcomed. And my team did a stellar job in just, getting that project moving smoothly the all week. Yes, the UFH did go very well. So we've actually is it onboarding, where we've welcomed the
Onboarding.
students. Yes, we've onboarded them and we gave them everything that they need, starter packs the first year, just to make sure
Mhm.
that they are set. Yeah, and I think now they're settling in, academics have started, and it's all up to them now. The ball is in their court.
Yeah, and that onboarding is very important. It's not only just a school thing or a tertiary institution thing.
Yeah.
It's something that I think HR in companies need to pay attention to as well. Like I always notice people who get into jobs, there's no
Mm,
onboarding, there's nothing, and you're trying to find your feet, and it's the most difficult thing to do. And
yeah.
you pick up a lot of attitude from colleagues who've always been there. How is he not going to know he's not supposed to do that in the office? How is he supposed to know that like that's not in the policy? You know,
Mm, mm,
so these things are very important. So if you're an entrepreneur in your HR policy or whatever, onboarding is very important.
100%.
Yeah.
I think, I mean, basic things of how the organization work. Those are things that you
Mm,
only figure them out once you are in the job. So it's nice to actually have somebody take you through how does the organization, actually work. How do things work here? What do I need to be mindful of? It's just a
mm,
nice get somebody started. And I think
yeah.
yes, definitely, entrepreneurs need to make it part of the employee welcoming pack. To say let's just
Mm,
take a few days, introduce this person to systems, and what do we expect
yeah.
this person. Yeah.
And it's very important. I mean, look, it's nice. I mean, like, I remember a couple of jobs and even my internship at Alcoa. They took the Mickey out of me. There's always that thing, type of thing. I
Yeah.
remember the story was said
Yes.
so many times. Sometimes they just want to know what they are working with. So the
Mm,
first day is fine if bayak vurvaya, they get you to do a job that's not yours and blah blah blah. Maybe they
mm,
just tell you know your personality, the kind of person you are. If umuntu uthi "Come ngicela undenzele ikofu," like what's your attitude going to be if someone says coach, we've got a client that has a problem with this return policy and all of that, like gee, it's fine, but it's very important that going forth, apart from taking the mickey out of a person, to actually have those. Yeah, so I think that's what I'm picking up from what you're saying. But it was a beautiful one, and I'm sure your students are all happy and dandy and getting the education on. With one person who's going to say, yeah, 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 yeah. I'm on my Slyso TV podcast. I cover this. This is
I'm
not.
always giving every single time. I'm like, listen here, listen.
Listen, yeah.
Very strict, very strict. Oh no.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Uncumile, but hey, sumqhela.
yeah, yeah.
One of those. Yeah, man. To you at home, man, like we have a very short episode. Yeah, we're trying to push for an hour. And on the news front, we're not going with much, Toto. It's basically just some of the stuff that's been happening. We know about the Madlanga and Witness. I don't know whether it's Witness G or Witness whatever it is now, who said, hey, this is up. And this is a very crucial person in that constitution, in that commission, because he's the guy who was apparently sent sent to fetch money from who's the other guy? It's Cat, and then who's the other one?
Usibia, the Shedrick guy, the Shedrick Sibia, is it not?
No, one of the big five, the one who's released now. Molefe, ne? Molefe.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah, the one who was released on like 1.5 or 1.2 million thingy. The one who was rated, it's called the CBS and of this world, who really blew up this thing. Nabukeni Bapagwapa. Hey, South Africa is a movie. The Sona, just a very quick one on the Sona. Any thoughts?
Look, I mean, the Sona left me feeling two ways. On the one hand, I had, a bit of expectations in terms of a president actually giving us feedback. I don't like this idea of every year it's like we're setting goals. You're setting goals, but you're not giving feedback on the goals that you set previously. For me, that's the critique that I have when it comes to Sona. It's like, well, you did say some of these things in 2020, Banbani. So you are supposed to actually give us
the past 9 years.
Yes. So you were supposed to tell us, okay, you've done that, and you end AP, and where are you stuck? Yeah, you understand what's the way forward. But in terms of, again, two ways, because then there are things that you can see that the president and his cabinet are really working hard to try and accelerate, as far as the economy is concerned. I mean, he talked about the country being lifted from the grey listing. It's good, from the rand perspective, things are looking a bit better. But because of the challenges that we have, you don't really feel this relief, because there's just so much going on. The unemployment aspect when it comes to young people, I didn't feel like he was again addressing us and
addressed
what the practical systems in place, what worked, what didn't work, because it's not a new thing also. So for me, it does feel as though the targets, there's no measures in place in terms of looking at, okay, so where are we, how did we do, and are we actually failing, or are we actually succeeding in terms of the targets that we set for ourselves in the past 9 years? So
right.
that part of the Sona for me doesn't really sit well with me. I mean, we can listen to the promises, but what are the deliverables? I think that's what South Africa wants to hear about, and I think that's what I wanted to hear. He talks about mining sector. They're doing great things there. They are supporting the agricultural sector. Supporting entrepreneurs, and So I'm not sure, Sly.
Yeah. No. I have to listen to you, because I did not bother watching. I took the points from literature from other people, because starters, I'm thinking it's probably like, I think it's his 9th year or something.
Yes.
He's been having this, so he's been having all of these sonas. This was his 9th sona, and if you think about it, it's his last term. how can you still be making promises when we know that we have elections now? We have, local municipal elections, and then
Coming.
from there, you guys are going on conference
Yes.
to elect a new leader. So where are you going to be doing all of this stuff that you're talking about, that you've been saying that, like,
Yeah.
you've been, wanting to do, and all of this time? Sharp, there's a few there, here and there, being taken out of the gray list.
Mm.
The rand, even though we know in part, as much as they deny it,
Yeah.
how it was actually assisted by Trump
Yes.
indirectly,
Yeah.
getting a go back as well. And even that, I don't feel it was pressure from the South African government or anything. They had nothing to do about it. But I think the Trump administration had to sit and say, do we need to be punishing? Because this is in the back, and what they did not expect, that AGOA, them taking it away, was actually going to affect far more white farmers, the very same people that he was
Yes.
to be
Yes.
to be protecting and stuff. So there's been a recipe, a mixture of things that actually spoke to that. But yeah, so as far as I'm concerned, it's like, what else? Like, what are you promising? Like,
Yeah.
you're not gonna be around, dude. Like, you're gonna be electing someone new, and given the fact that, like, we are in a GNU, and they keep getting reminded that you did not win outright, so you are in a
Yeah.
government of national unity. So all these
Unit
achievements are not necessarily from your political party or
organization. Yes. Yeah.
organization. As a good thing, I think a lot of optimistic South Africans feel that there is no outright organization that is running the country. Because if
Yeah.
you look at the Department of Education, for an example, I feel
Yeah.
that that lady is doing quite is quite efficient.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, if you look at how they caught those people who were cheating, and the communication of that, there
Yeah.
was no disruption to the exams. The results were released on, well, tried on time. Depends on that usasa ngoku, lento students, honest
And
fast as well,
yeah.
is
Yeah.
almost like trying to get the ducks in a row. So here and there, you can see that there's a little bit that's being done. But we look forward to somebody new, bro. Did I
Yeah.
say that loud? Yes, I did, motherfucker.
Yeah. I mean, it's I think South Africans were to the empty promises. Like I said, I
Dat
think
is moeg, hè?
what we were hoping President will say is to come and say, look, I promised this, and this is where we are. This is what we've done. This is what we've achieved.
No,
These are the challenges.
Queen, he should have just said, guys, I'm just going to leave you on your own. Do with the country what you will, as long as it's positive. Let's just try and see, when government is not responsible, how well you're going to solve problems. They probably would have seen flames.
Yeah.
Willing and
Yeah.
able South Africans would have said, I'm getting into that ministry. That's what I'm going to be sorting out. Somebody
Yeah.
else's. My time has finally come. But on the real though, I think there's a lot. There's I think one other thing that rubbed people off the wrong way. It was the issue with foreigners in South
Yes.
Africa,
Yes.
illegal immigrants. There's no pronouncement. There is no decisiveness. There is
Mm.
no. It's almost similar where with Thabo Mbeki's sentiments, where you were
Yeah.
saying, people, can't stop people from coming into the country. You are not specifying that it should be
Yeah.
legal,
Legal.
not
Yeah.
illegal. That is
Yeah.
the one annexure or piece, or
Yeah.
that should be clear
Yeah.
when it comes
Yeah.
from the president, and say that we are not going to accept illegal.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
you are legal, we hope that your papers are right. You have no problem with scrutiny and all of that. But to come out once again, to just put it like out there the way you are, that people should not be discriminated against or be denied you know, schooling and health
Yes,
facilities.
yeah.
Legal foreigners should
I
not.
think that
Illegal.
was definitely the oversight there in terms of the president just it felt like he was minimizing the problems that South Africans are highlighting as far as the immigration challenges are concerned,
Yeah.
and not
And
being
also taking
decisive.
it.
Yeah.
And also taking a jibe at people like that Zuma lady, with
Yes.
March and March with Abu Dudula once again, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's very interesting. We're gonna get into this story because it also sort of like circles back when a queen to that, and that is
Okay.
the story of the fourth suspect in the e-hailing driver's murder, who turned himself in this afternoon. I don't know whether
Oh,
you saw that what do they call it? Story about an e-hailing driver. I'm gonna put it in the tickers. Okay, that's right there in the tickers where you can read, my people. Where the fourth suspect in the e-hailing driver murder turns himself in, and now police is saying that the fourth suspect, who was wanted for the alleged murder of an e-hailing driver, has handed himself over to the Atteridgeville police in Pretoria.
police.
He's expected to appear before Pretoria Magistrates Court on Tuesday, meaning tomorrow. And you must remember the other three that were nabbed, and there they are. Those ones have appeared already. Can you imagine?
Seriously.
Can you imagine? taking a
Seriously.
life taking a life of a young person. Dude was from Nigeria. He was turning 23 in a few weeks time. He was graduating. He is an intern, an engineering intern. And I'm sure people have seen on social media platforms his uncle speaking, sorely. Crime is crime. And I think for those people who keep saying that South Africans are xenophobic, it took South Africans to have those people arrested by their interaction on social media platforms and all of that. So when you
Yeah.
have a young person like that who is from Nigeria, by the way, people could have just said, like, yeah, we don't care. You know what I mean?
Mm,
But
mm,
I think one of the things that has actually assisted it has been the money that has been raised. They are looking for 70,000 Rand just to cover basic stuff because apparently, guy at the age of 23, he was a breadwinner. He was an engineering intern. He was supposed to be graduating in about 2 weeks' time, and his life was cut short by these low lives right here you know for whatever reason. It's still going to be ventilated in a court of law, and we hear, but as it looks, it was just people who were out to rob somebody and just decided
mm.
it's okay to take a life you know
And it's
and I
young
think it's
people. That's very disturbing. It's
this,
young
these are
people.
young people. These are
These
people with
are young
their feet.
people.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's
I
very
mean,
crazy.
no.
Yeah.
That's
So I just feel, and I think one of the things that we can take away, yes, it's a tragedy. Yes, a young life has been cut short at the age of 22, turning 23. I mean, you can imagine. And the reports are that like he was a breadwinner, so he's basically an intern this side. He's doing e-hailing this side to make money, which also circles back once again to the safety, of
yeah.
this and tolerance as
Yeah.
well, because this was just an opportunistic crime.
Yes.
People who
Yeah.
just figured like we're going to take a chance and all of that. But we know that the e-hailers, the Ubers, and all of that, they suffer all kinds of injustices as well.
Mm,
So I think it's time for us, and I keep saying 2026, it's going to be my mantra throughout that, guys. I know that we can do better as a country. I know that we are going to talk against anything that is not what we want. I think right now, as South Africans, we should be looking at everything as if we are running the country, the community, the
yeah.
citizens. where
Yeah.
we stand up for crime, where we stand to support young kids that are looking for opportunities. So I feel it's just one of those, without being preachy about it. So we just move on from that particular story. So we're still waiting to hear what's going to happen as far as that is concerned, because obviously it's so silly. Like,
Yeah.
you kill this person, his body was found in Atteridgeville, with his body inside. So it was not to steal the car. You just figured in your moment of madness, this is what you're going to do. And a very gruesome video. And I
Oh,
think
yeah.
people put dash cams on your cars, bro. Dash
I
cams.
think, you know what I mean. That was also disturbing. Just looking at that video, and you're asking yourself, other bantu,
Extremely.
like, what the hell is going on in their minds?
Yeah. Yeah,
Disturbing.
very crazy, that one. We want to make it short, so we go on to this one. So I just love this because we always talk about this. We always talk about these people. Um,
Yes,
they're very
yes,
interesting. Fly
yes,
Safe. Like,
yes.
what story do you have? Like any story, any
I mean,
funny, whatever. Fine.
Christopher is in the recent past. It has been quite frustrating flying with Christopher. One, I was complaining to a colleague. I was like, the landings. I don't know what's happening with their pilots. It just felt like landings are not as soft, and I'm not sure whether it was the weather conditions that were bad last year, but also I guess the issue of cancellations of flights that was happening quite often with flights, where they would have flights that are delayed, or you have flights that is now
Mm,
all of a sudden cancelled, and not having the them actually thinking about the fact that now it's costing you to stay where you are staying, right?
yeah,
And you hadn't actually planned to stay over, so now you must pay accommodation. And I think that for me is with the airlines, that's a problem where you are the problem. You're having a problem, and now you're expecting people to now chuck up monies to stay somewhere, and you're not making provisions to actually assist them at all. And it's just like, okay,
yeah.
your flight is delayed, or your flight is now being cancelled and moved to the next day. Yeah, so for me, I think the later last year, I was a bit frustrated with FlySafer. So let's hear what the good news is.
Look, I think you are talking about Chief David Sturman as Port Elizabeth, ne? You
Yeah.
people are King Palo. You people are
Yes,
Palo, ne?
King Palo this side.
Yeah, yellow people is King Palo. Now,
Yeah.
here's the thing with the King Palo, ne? Every time I have to fly to East London,
Yeah.
there is a problem. It didn't start for me last year. Like, every
Mm.
time, there's just something jittery about landing in
Yes.
King Palo. There is something. I don't
I'm
know
telling
if
you, at
anyone
some
is
point I was
watching
like,
and they are
there's
from
no
East London.
flipping way. I
Hey,
don't know. I'm telling you, there was just a time where I was like, I'm very sure that there must be a way where we can learn better. Like, it can't be this rough. It
shit.
can't be like, like, yay. No, 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 no.
I wish I had it and I can put it up on. I will find it even if I put it on the comments.
Yeah,
There's actually, for those people who fear flying, those people who do not understand how the aeroplane behaves.
mm.
When there's turbulence,
Turbulence,
when
yes.
it's landing, because everything is a shock to your body as well, even when it takes off,
Yeah,
at that speed. Half the time, your body is not ready for all of those things that are happening. So it sends different messages to the brain, where you
yeah.
panic, where you all of this. So there's a pilot, I just forget his name. I like his Instagram. I will share it because he explains. So when you are experiencing turbulence, It is not dangerous. It is systematic. And sometimes when you land and you can see the airplane is almost like, why is it landing on a side? Oh my God, we're gonna.
Yeah.
So those are all maneuvers. Those are all predetermined.
Yeah.
When there is an issue with crosswinds, it's not gonna land directly, so it's gonna have that slight little. So I think
Mm,
it's very important for people who are gonna be flying or have been flying and having issues to actually just. I'm sure even on YouTube you can find an article on what does this mean? How is it dangerous? And how should I behave when that happens? Because I mean, like we've had so many where there's turbulence. Oh my Jesus! Oh la Allah! What are doing? And people praying in tongues and all kinds of stuff. It's like shut up.
people start
But
praying.
but the good news, Queen, are that Fly SAFAIR and the South African Airways have been recognized as Africa's most punctual airlines in the latest rankings. Yep. In the latest rankings, they have been like number one, number two. Number one, number two. Let me put that story up. It's number one, number two between the two of them. So it's there in the ticker. You can check it out, family. Yeah. I thought for Qatar doesn't even cut it. Qatar has been celebrated a little bit, but they don't Qatar it into the top, even in the
They
top
didn't
five.
cut themselves into
Top
this one.
five. At number 5, it's the Gulf Air. The Saudia, obviously, they're there. At number 4, the Royal Jordanian is at number 3. At number 2, this is punctuality. It is the South African Airways. And number 1, it is the Quantum Taxi of aeroplanes. This is what I was waiting to hear from you. Those guys, they will tell you, leaving our Tambo. Listen, we are 5 minutes delayed. And they get there 25 minutes early. It's like you covered the 5 minutes and you still had another 25 minutes that you like, really, guys?
Yeah.
And I think it earned them respect from people, because flying for some people is for the reasons we've stated, and some people are in a hurry to get to like thingy. So it does something. There's a level of anxiety that you feel, but they've proven themselves to be quite reliable, and especially with punctuality. And I think it earned them a lot of respect and points with people. But I didn't know that like it is actually number 1. It is leading, the race. And South African Airways, I think what's very interesting for me, because if you remember, and someone said that, like, do you see now? As soon as that Pravin Gordhan passed on, things started working. The rail started working. The SAA started working.
Yes.
After that, look, I'm not throwing things. I'm saying things that people say. I'm just saying things that people say. But I have to take my hat off to the South African Airways, because remember, it had gone through the most. There were people who were buying into it, and all of these controversies and things. But in a very short space of time, and I almost want to believe that person who said that, they just started lifting themselves up. They started being efficient. And I think it's and even as far as price competitiveness, especially certain routes. I think kudos to South African Airways, and to be sitting at number 2 in this list now. Yes, Queen.
Definitely. I think, I'm happy for South African Airways also to just be back in business and just giving Fly SAFAIR also a bit of a competition there, because I think for a very long time, Fly SAFAIR was just kind of enjoying, the benefits of being the only airline in South Africa that was actually functioning, which obviously was giving us as consumers a problem, because they were just quite expensive,
Ridiculously expensive.
ridiculously expensive. So
Airlink.
I mean, yes, of
Yeah.
course. I mean, Airlink. Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
And
every time I get booked, for an example, in the former Transkei Mthatha anyway, I would make sure that I would rather fly to King Palo and then take whatever form of transport from King Palo
yes,
to wherever I'm going, because it just didn't make sense. And I think they also came out saying that ordinary South Africans are not the target market. They know that that route is used a lot by business people and politicians as well. So they
yeah,
hike their prices. But the last I checked, I don't know whether it was the mayor in Ora Tambo or whatever, who was claiming that they are going to revamp Tata Airport for an example, and they're also going to be negotiating with airlines as well to make sure that at least the prices are quite reasonable. And I think they would alleviate a lot of pressure on the roads,
yes, yeah,
for people, because if you are coming from Gqeberha and you have a meeting in Umtata, you have to drive. If you're coming from,
yes,
all of these people, some people have to drive to Durban, to
yeah,
fly out. So yeah, I know about those ones. But at the moment, we are saying kudos to these ones. I think the last story, we are just going to be very quick about it before we get to the Momo. It is this particular one. The Deputy
oh,
Defense Minister saying, hey, yeah,
we are ready.
I have beef with these dudes.
And they saying they are ready to deploy.
Yeah, he says they are ready to deploy. This was announced by the president, obviously, during the SONA,
Yes, yeah,
that they need to deal with the gangs in the Cape Flats and elsewhere.
exactly.
The soldiers are needed, they will deploy them. And he was quick to come out, Upanti Holomisa. Hey, Panti Ponke Holomisa. He came out guns blazing like a soldier, saying that we're ready, thinking he's Chuck Norris. Oh, Chuck Norris, General. Yeah, yeah,
Hey,
yeah, yeah,
hey,
yeah.
hey, 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 hey. After that story you guys were telling me about the the military, I'm not so confident after you you showed that video of in
Oh,
one of the last episodes, remember? So now I'm just like, are we really ready? I hope we are. I
those were
hope
ANC veterans.
yes. But
Bagqibela
I think
kusagqushelwa
in
zingcinci xa
the
ufuna ukulwa.
I mean, Slyso, the issue of the Cape Flats is a very serious is a very serious problem there. The
Mm.
gang violence there, I think, has gotten really out of hand for a very long time. So it definitely needs to be contained in some way. So I think this one, every South African who really is concerned about what's happening there is really happy for this decision, and hopefully this will have some positive outcome as far as that violence is concerned, Kwelaka.
Look, it's long overdue, if you ask me, Queen. It's long overdue. This thing should have been curbed a long time ago, but
Yeah.
obviously, because of July, the previous year, we learned that there actually are far more squabbles within the SAPS. There's so much corruption. They
Yeah.
just did not have or made time to make sure that they fight
Mm,
crime. Anything,
mm,
they were aiding and abetting it.
yeah.
So hopefully, and I think it's also quite a bit of a pleasant. I think for law-abiding South Africans, this is a game changer. This is what
Yeah.
we've been calling for and expecting, that we need to be swift when it comes to crime.
Yes.
Obviously, police stations have security companies, but alarm.
Mm,
A police
mm,
station is guarded by ADT. Like, where have you, like, how crazy, and I
yeah.
think just the day Bekona, one of these bombings of money trucks that happened in Soweto, Jabavu or Jablani, right, not so far from a police station.
Police station. Yeah. Yeah.
Were around. Those guys took the money and they left. So incapacitated, whether it is through them.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we are learning now with the Matanga and all of this stuff. So we hope
Yeah.
that, like, we can have law and order restored in South Africa as soon as possible. And I think that is the last story that we actually have at the moment. So without wasting any time, it should be interesting what we have on the Momo. I look forward to it.
Yes,
Are you,
yes,
are you,
yes, yes,
you just want
yes,
to dive into?
yes.
You
Let's
want,
go, let's go.
oh, by the way, don't go anywhere because on last week, I think it was a Friday, I had an
Yeah.
interview. It was World Radio Day, celebrating this medium that has given birth to people like Abu Slyso and a whole lot of other people. And it gets to be an opportunity where we get to share a little bit with people. And it was an honor to be invited by Ozol. Mdantsane FM to have that chat. He lied to me. He lied to me. Xoxela la mfana. On this line today, how long are we going to talk? It's like 10 minutes. The next thing when I look at the interview, I'm like, on all the questions that were, but like Namge, yeah, I'm very talkative. So after Imomo, we're definitely going to be heading to that interview. It's going to be part one. It's in two parts. So it's going to be part one. The second part will play next week. But for now, let's head over to the Momo.
Give up on your dreams, don't give up on yourself. It can also be a developmental crisis issue. Keep pushing and stay the course. Bum, 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 bum. Hey family, hey people, excuse my lighting today. Diagoa, it's just a lot going on, but because I could not miss this episode, so I'm here with you. And I was struggling today because I wanted to actually talk about something that is going to obviously resonate with our audience, and of course, something that we can continue to talk about offline with our families, with our friends. So it's going to be a bit of a heavy one, but we're going to try and make it, palatable, if I can say it that way. Divorce. When we talk about divorce, automatically we are thinking the adults, we're thinking the couple, right? And the attention is always on, these people that are separating. And we always forget the children, when people who are divorcing have children, we don't actually talk or pay a lot of attention to the mental health of the children. And I wanted to just bring about attention to, the effects of divorce on young children. For parents, right? We know life happens, life is unpredictable. Yes, akekho umuntu who gets into a relationship or, emtshadweni with the intention of, separating or divorcing, but it does happen, and there are many, many reasons why people divorce, right? And I'm not going to get into that because the focus is not on, the adults and their relationship, but the focus is on, taking care of your children. When you are going through a divorce, right, it's very important for you to understand that the separation, the ending of this relationship is not only painful for you as parents, as spouses. It is actually very painful for the children as well, right? And you need to somehow make sure that you are communicating openly and honestly with your children, especially if your children are at an age where they are fully aware of what's going on. From 7 years old, a child actually is aware of what's going on in their family home. They can feel, when things are different, when people are not happy. They can also experience the sad feelings, because of what's happening. So it's very important to have the conversation with your children. Once the decision has been made and the process has already started, it's very important that the parents actually sit down with their child or their children and be transparent and honest about, what is happening. It's then very important to then give an opportunity for your children to express how they feel about this situation in a non-judgmental manner. What we often see is that we see the parents will actually try to use the children, to try and manipulate and take their side, be against the other parent. We want you to be aware of how dangerous that is and how actually damaging it is emotionally for your children. The children are already mentally not okay. So for you to put pressure on them now to take sides or to use their pain to get to the other spouse or to get what you want is very inappropriate. And I want to call on parents to understand that you still have a responsibility to make sure that your children are supported in this difficult phase. As much as it is an emotional experience for you, painful experience for you, you are still the parent. You are still the one that has to guide, support, care for your children, So it's very important that you facilitate a conversation in an open and safe environment, so that is create a safe space for your kids to express how they feel, listen to what they have to say, and it's very important to recognize as parents that if the divorce is still going on and the emotions are still high, you must recognize that you might not be able to actually support your children in a manner that is appropriate. So you need to find professional support for your kids. Make sure that you find a psychologist, a professional who can actually support your children in this phase, because this is also a transition for them, right? And this will help your children to be able to, kind of get to a point of understanding that things are going to change, right? Where they are going to be taken through in terms of, how's the living conditions going to change. Most of the time, children have to now spend time in different households where they're going to visit to mama, if they're staying with the dad, or if they're staying with the mama, they're going to visit to dada, over the weekends. So those dynamics are very important for the children to be assisted, because abantwana, they struggle sometimes, with this adjustment. And so they need a supportive environment that can help them to be able to, adjust into this new family dynamic. It's also very important to find professional support for your child so that umdana doesn't actually go through the pain by themselves or alone, right? And then it starts affecting them in their studies. So you need somebody who's going to also have eyes on all areas of your child's functioning, because as a parent, you are still, so emotionally drained by this process. You might not realize that umntanakho is not coping. Suddenly, maybe they're acting out at school, they are becoming the bully because they can't, process and express what's going on here. So they're taking out the pain on others, right? So the psychologist will assist you in terms of checking in with the teachers, making sure that there's also support at school, making sure that the teachers are also made aware so that they can also, just pay attention to your child and make sure that, again, support systems that are necessary for children are activated. Very important, Slyso, to not dismiss abantwana, because I see a lot of times the kids become the casualties in divorce proceedings. Because they are so focused on their own needs and what they want and how they want things to turn out. And then iba yinto yaxasele kugqityiwe i-divorce igqityiwe kube khona abazali babasa abantwana kwi-therapy. And I'm saying that's the wrong time. You need to take them through the minute there is a decision, that has been made and agreement are divorcing. You need to have your children in a professional setting where they are also going to be assisted throughout the process, right? To manage the emotions, to be able to just make sure that they understand what is going on. Communication is very important from both parents. It cannot be a responsibility of one parent to talk to the children about what is going on, because that gives an impression that the other one doesn't want, the other one is forcing, it's very important as abazali to come to a realization that these are your children, and you have a responsibility, both of you, in making sure that you prioritize their well-being. So that is communicating with your children, as parents, in terms of what is going to happen, in an honest manner, is very, very important. So I guess, Slyso, in this session, I'm just trying to call on parents to say, xa kukho divorce that is happening or a separation that is happening, don't hide it. Don't pretend nothing's going on. Abantwana bangaxelelwa, sit your children down and be honest and be transparent with your kids. Ask your children how they are feeling. Check in with your kids regularly and make sure that you are, getting support for your kids, professional support for your kids, because we already know that you might not have capacity in terms of, emotionally and mentally. So you won't be able to be lomzali that you're supposed to be, because now you're going through. So get them into a therapy process. And it's important that we stop treating abantwana ngati are these things that don't have feelings, we just kind of, expect them to be okay. Children have emotions, they feel pain, they are affected as well. And it's very important as a bazali to not use children's vulnerability to try and get what you want, or to try and uvisa ubuhlungu komnye, the other partner. Don't use your children as a tool to try and inflict pain on the other person. It's very important as umzali to remember that at the end of the day, when everything else is done, abantwana bazawukhula, and you want to have a good relationship with your kids, and you want your children to come to you and say, you handled that, in the best way that you could have, handled dada or mama, thank you, instead of having abantwana bakho who are going to resent you for how you handle things, and how you actually neglected them in a time that was very emotional and difficult for them too. So we need to pay attention to children. Their mental health also gets affected by izinto ezifana divorce and changes in the home front. And that's my story. I'm sticking to it.
And she's sticking to it. Yeah, man. A very heavy one, but I think you managed to make it light, and I think for us to get the gist of what it is, it's just one of those things. It's like, why are we discussing funeral policies? Are you planning to kill me?
Yes. Yeah.
Why are we talking about divorce? Are you planning to leave me? It's just one of those topics, just from the end, like, as you were introducing it, that look, let's have these uncomfortable conversations, and get to a point where we sit down. Very important. I like also where you say the minute the decision is being taken, and it also depends on how old the children are, because some kids can pick up, you can't tell me a teenager does not know that there's a bit of, well, using the airline thingy, there's turbulence, in the home front. So the minute you start taking that decision, because they've been in some instances they see what's going on and like where it's heading, and one parent will always be the one that alludes to, tata kuyantika, mama kuyantika, I'm gonna leave, like this is going to happen. But as soon as that that decision is taken, and I think, Toto, even before it is taken, while you guys are going through whatever it is that you're going through, make your kids aware. Look, it's not comfortable between me and mommy right now, because of ABC. You don't have to go deep and explain what it is. It's adult stuff, but we understand that, like, we see I'm sleeping in the other room, or blah blah blah, whatever. We're trying to work. You know what I mean? And I think that would be the best time to take the kid to therapy.
Yes. Yeah.
That there might be this eventuality.
Exactly, like, so all you're doing as a umzali, you're acknowledging, look, things are going on apparently, and I know that you see and you might be feeling some things. I don't know what you're feeling, but you are acknowledging your child, Bana, because you are a human being, something is going on with you. Maybe you have questions, because sometimes when I have questions, what's happening with mama or tata, what's happening apparently, why all of a sudden tense, kids feel the tension, the same way they feel when it's happy. So I think sometimes abazali baba in denial about the negative emotions when it comes to their children, but no, don't worry. No, kids actually notice. They notice the things that you think they are not noticing. And the best thing to do is to not avoid it, is to actually address it openly and honestly as soon, like I said, as soon as there is already a talk. The minute book separation where when you room already, that's a time slice away. We must talk and just acknowledge, but look, utata no mama are going through some things, it's the adults issues sizabuya but just know and assure your kids that it's not about them, because a lot of children also they carry a lot of guilt, they think ngabo that contribute to this. Yes, so you also want to reassure your kids that it's got nothing to do with them. Own up to your own adult issues, and let the children be at ease that this is not something that has to do with them. It is just a dynamic that adults are going through. They need to handle it, and and get somebody professional to actually assist you through that phase.
And I think even before you get to a professional person as well, there's always that trust in the like, okay, abantwana cannot be around while this is happening. We're gonna take them to Andwabo. And another challenge there is that there are already biases, because these two parties that brought these people together, the aunt or the uncle, already has chosen a side. So it's also not best to actually have them in that space to get that influence, So when they come back from Guandi for while you're going through this whole thing, they come back from Guandi or they come back from uncle, they come back with these conceived or opinions that are being planted by the one relative that is. So it's very important, even in your group of friends or trusted people, that actually can spend that time where your kids can spend that time in a safe environment that's not going to be judgmental, that is not going to be subjective as well, where people are just like, the kids are here, let me give them the support that they need. It's a very crucial one, Toto. Certainly will create for our conversations on our TikTok page, which we urge you guys to follow so that we can broadcast the podcast on TikTok as well. The discussions there are very, very interesting from those little clips that we cut from the podcast, and people are really engaging. So we definitely will cut this one and put it there as well so that people can start engaging. If you have questions, and besides, this lady, if you look here, msenganatobeka@gmail.com, and that number there, use it. Should you need any form of guidance as far as your counseling is concerned, she's a professional. She's vetted as well. She's vetted, very important.
I promise you, I am a real psychologist. I get this question a lot on TikTok. Are you a real psychologist? I promise you, I am a real psychologist. You can find me on the HPCSA.
On LinkedIn.
Register, and of course LinkedIn, and check my profile there. But it is...
What's the body that regulates you guys?
HPCSA.
HPCSA.
That regulates all the health professionals. You can definitely check with them. But is this one real? Dr. Matthew.
Right. Hey, there are a lot of doctors that are creeping up now, and it turns out they are not doctors after injecting people. Hey, imagine.
Oh my
ayibuhlungu
goodness.
nalithi now izohlatywa ngumuntu ongazange wayifundela into yobana ihlatywa njani
Mhlawumbi
yohabo
ufaka amanzi,
ngaliyo.
mhlawumbi kukho amanzi phaa,
Oh Lord. Uyakhumbula kudala, because doctors, I don't know whether they did not have the technology, but one thing that I know was that like they've managed with izinto zabo to make them thinner but still landika so that zingavakali kakhulu. Akusafani nakuqala kudala xa usiya kwagqirha uqonda into yobana god damn it.
And
Idumbe le ndawo
abantu
ubuhlatywa
abangotata ke
kuyo.
ngokoyika inaliti, guys, you know how abantu bangotata
As we swiftly move on with the podcast,
always very much private with those ones. As we
Quinn,
move
I have to
on,
say, as we move right along, as we wrap this up, as I had promised, we are going to, my goodness, trust you me, Lordy, I need to do this right now. I don't know what's appearing, but I need to load this because that is one thing that I forgot to actually do to make sure that there it is. Man, I was worried. I loaded it in a different place, so I'm thinking like now I haven't loaded it, and this is how we are ending off the podcast. With this moment that I had with Zol from Mdantsane FM. We were talking all things the World Radio Day, and he decided to focus on Slyso. He asked me a lot of questions that have to do with my background and my radio career as well. So the first few minutes, I think it's about 6 minutes, close on 7, that's going to be part 1. Where we have this conversation. And even then, it wasn't planned to actually ready it for the podcast. It was just one of those, hey, at the spur of the moment. Okay, I don't have space. There are people, I can't be in the studio, can't do like, so I was in the car, as you can see there, he was in the studio. So after that, I did the magic to make sure that those people who missed it on Mdantsane FM can catch it on the podcast as well. So it is here. And I'm going to say good evening to you because after that, I know you've got a lot to do. After that, I'll just be closing the podcast. But for now, it's going to be this. I don't know. What's up for you for this week?
For me, this week is I'm actually trying to push my private practice as well. I'm in a new location and working. My practice is operating part-time, obviously, because I have my other job there that I am fully, employed in, but on weekends. So that now it's really just getting it up and running, Slyso.
Wow.
And making sure that I am being intentional about it. I mean, it's something that I've always been doing, but I just feel like I've just been doing it like as a by the way, So
I
this
know.
year about set the intention. We're gonna keep it.
Wow, I'm so excited. I mean, like you remember, we will break them probably next week or whenever. The news about Billy as well. People are not seeing him on the pod. It is for a very, very good, profound reason. And Abo as well is quite busy. Girl was ready to leave, if you remember having this conversation. But it turned out she is staying in South Africa, and she's got 2 gigs, the jobs that she's doing. So I don't know whether it's the podcast, where my people are just growing.
The inspiration, and people are seeing us, and they're like, yeah, those ones there. Yeah. It seems like something.
No, it's great. It's a great one, Queen. Thank you so much. Have yourself a great evening, and we are going to play the interview.
Uyazi Zoli, into endivisa kamnandi ngento yobana ndisemdantsane yiyeke into yokubana sisasazela Mdantsane FM ilokishi yesibini ngobukhulu eMzantsi Afrika emveni kweSoweto. Lonto ithetha into yobana inginginya yabantu abaphulaphuleyo kwaye abanye babo bawukhumbula uSlyso apho waqala khona kwakunye ne-South African Broadcasting Corporation, CKI, now True FM. Basekhona nangoku bebuza into yobana uphi. Ndifuna ubhotisa bona bethuna kungoLwesihlanu ku-2026 ngunyaka omtsha usanda uqala. Ndiye ndatsho ke wena Zol ndathi lo nyaka singabemi boMzantsi Afrika ndifuna uncoma likhona iphulo endiye ndalibona eMdantsane elilwisana kwakunye nolwaphulo mthetho. Ndaziva ndincume ngaphakathi into yokubana ingathi abantu bandivile kuba kulo nyaka ndifuna into yobana okanye ndicela singabemi belo Mzantsi Afrika silungiseni ilizwe lethu kuba siyabona into yobana ke kwabazopolitiko ithanda unqaba loo nto leyo bajongene neziqu zabo njalo njalo kodwa thina we are on the ground. So ndibhotisa kwabo bantu abo.
Yeah, amadoda lawo sineforum thina apha sineforum apho uhamba kuse.
Ndijongile mfowabawo ndijongile.
Yeah.
Ndaziva ndinelunda.
Oh madoda. Slyso abantu abaninzi Slyso radioweni abanyazi kusekwa abantu abangamaziyo uSlyso igama lakhe nesename epheleleyo up until to date.
Nangoku?
Yeah. Basekhona.
Kusukwini ngulawo ngudibashe ngusandlalanca ngolibisi ozalwa nguMambhele. Ngusizwe igama.
Yes.
Ifani nguSaliso.
Yes.
Now kunechomi yam ndithi S-2 ke comedian Tosh Madlingozi waye wathatha wathi ndimbuza yayinguye umuntu oqala undibiza uSlyso ndibuza ba into yendoni lento loSlyso uthi esibhanqa igama lakho ngusizwe isename nguSaliso so ndiyadibanisa ndi-creative that okay sharp mfethu.
Slyso, your first radio gig, when was that? And where was
my first radio gig yayise Ubuntu FM, Ubuntu Community Radio Station. Yayise by Pier 14. So nakhona iyaqalwa ngutata May Soul, rest in peace, utata uthi Ombechu, ifamily yakwa Headbush, kwakunye nabanye badibana besithi ke bona ke bazawuqala community radio station. Ndabe ndisazana nonyana ka tatu Headbush wandicela nje into bane mandidla ngokubona ezipatini uDJ ngecassette pha kudlalwa icassette zakho sivule radio station awuba oliba ngumsasazi ndithi
just like that.
Yeah, ndathi okay masiyenze lento siyibone ngela xesha ke yayiphela ngo10 yayivalwa ngo10 iradio so ndingena pha elanyana ngabo 9 kanje 8 9 ngo10 funeke ndiyiswitche off sayisingeka broadcast 24 hours ngoko ibe ndimo zaya pha ku main plug ndicime ofikayo kusasa uzawufika owenza i-breakfast show naye okungathi kulayitwa i-generator but yakhula from there saphela sine-listeners eziphaa ku-120,000 kwakulapho ke ndafumana nethuba lento kubana ndiye esikolweni kuba nale nto yeradio ndasithi asuka ndizazela umculo ndizawuthetha ntoni you know kwafika i-opportunity. Yes.
Oh, okay. Ndiyakuva. So from there, from Ubuntu, waya esikolweni, and then when you coming back, what happened? There's something endakubona kwi-profile yakho. One ento efuna ngathi kwazi kudala uzama SABC, one ento ngathi efuna mhlawumbe yandilungise ngathi ufuna eGauteng because ufuna uyozama koma-YFM, but something came back and said, no, come boy.
Yes well apho ndafumana ithuba because buyakhumbula ngela xesha kwakusemveni ko1994 pha 97 kanje so kujongene kwakunye ne-elections eMzantsi Afrika abantu abafana noKeith Ngesi, the late Luzuko Koti, we were all on the same program yayiranwa yi-Development Media Agency, and that is where I did the journalism accelerated journalism course through Rhodes University. Ndafumana nethuba ke lento kubana ndikhethwe ndichongwe into kubana ndiyomela uMzantsi Afrika in the programs aziranwa throughout South Africa namanye amadoda amane alapha eSouth Africa to Sweden nase-Estonia. Ubuya kwami ke ngoku ndabuya ndatraina ke ngoku abantu basebuntu FM apho ndandibuya khona kwakunye novukile sonanzi saphinda sahamba sayotrainer i-community radio stations ezifana kwakunye intoni kanendlisecala nekhanya eButterworth.
Ivukani.
There we were setting up newsrooms zabo. So newsrooms nje namhlanje we were the people who were behind it. Kwakunye ne-funders ezinye zasuka kuma Australia, ezinye from Sweden, njalo njalo. Yeah.
And then your first radio show, SABC?
It was SABC yayi True FM. CKI FM then, but 2003 kulapho ke ngoku esi story sizodibana khona dibizwe ke ngoku emhlobo ndibe nenyweba ndisayibulela ngoku kodwa uNibek Magwa, may his soul rest in peace, Konata Wachela, I think wayengu programs at the time or marketing. You know, if inqabile into yobana uthi xa ungena kwi-radio show kuthiwe jonga, start on a clean slate, you come with your own features, you come with your own yonke into. So ndaba nalo nyweba and I created the Breakers Lifers show. Yakhula, yeah.
Yakhula kwaphuma ukhupha lakhupha ubasebenzela abahlali basephondweni because ezinye izinto zikakhupha ibinceda ne-department zikahulumende ba hey bakhala ngantoni abahlali kwingingqi ethile. It was not just a feature, it was a community builder of some.
Yep, we ended on that note. On that note,
I just couldn't leave. I could not leave. Because I mean, how do you leave when a legend is just telling you about journey in his career? So inspirational, Slyso. I wish, you know, young people who aspire to be in radio and just, you know, media can listen to this. Babe motivated, you know, and be inspired. Really, so inspirational. Thank you for sharing your story.
Thank you, Queen. And the nice thing about it, I just edited and made sure that I ended there so that I can respond to Ukupa because, and I have to say big up to Zol as well because he did his research, you know, in finding out about Okupa and finding out the story about me when I was about to go to Metro FM, no Paul Mtikhaga, no Pastor, you know, we're planning to like, yeah, guys, the next step now is going up to Joburg, but things changed and I ended up staying in the Eastern Cape, hosting the second biggest breakfast show in the country at the time for something like 8 years. So that will come in part 2, the story of how this thing comes together, and also the conversation with young people as well, because there are some takeaways from them, you know, comparing radio back then and radio today. So yeah, that's what's up. That's part 1. That's part 1. Part 2 will come next week. And thank you for hanging out, Queen.
Oh man, you are one of the people that we listen to. There's no way that I could have just left and not listened to that. I'm having a what is it, like fanning out completely now, because I think the way you are so humble, sometimes I think you forget it all, but we listen to you, you know, we're here in the podcast now, but we listen to you. You made radio something that young people, I mean, this is Lali in me, and wow. I can tell you, Mhlowana was one of the things that I listened to, not because of the shows per se, but because of the people behind the mic, you know. Wow. And to just appreciate the authenticity, the ability to connect with people. So you are one of those people when it comes to abantu abangamaXhosa in the Eastern Cape, that you really actually for young people, you know, you young people then and young people now even, you really gave them something to look forward to, and they didn't even know at that time, Mana, you were having a positive impact in them. And I can tell you there's so many people that remember you in a positive way because of your contribution that you had in their lives, and just also the the ability, I think with you guys, the ability to just help people in different spaces mentally. I don't think you guys also recognize how much of just therapy and healing you were assisting with. Abantu, you look forward to show Slyso, and but it's going to be an amazing, experience for that period. You forget the troubles are going like Zako. You're just immersed into, this show when you are listening to this voice, and Bana, it's going to be a good, a good moment, 3 hours or whatever, at that particular point in time. And for me, I think that's what I appreciated so much about Umhlobo Wenene. They had these great people like yourself who were actually just making sure they are connecting with people, not just but you actually made sure that you are touching, the souls of people.
Lives.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. It's like I'm getting my flowers while I'm still alive, nigga. Shit.
Yes.
No, but thank you so much.
Where's that hat that I liked so much? It was like, how do you do that, Queen?
Oh, there we go. No, I actually picked it up. I know how it happens now. So, yeah, like, look, I think for me, like, I appreciate that the feedback you're affording me, and also because I'm not a person who's about myself. I would like to believe. I would rather. I always say to people, if people want to, like, talk about my love for children, it's too prone. That's because I genuinely love young people, and I feel like I don't get old. Like, I just want that energy, that curiosity, that that thing. And once again, to the management of Umhlabone FM, during that time when I came in, to give me that clean slate, to say in the banner, like, we feel in the banner you are creative enough to come up with all the features of the show, because in most times you are told, you can't touch that one, is sponsored, you can't touch that one, this is technical stuff. But for Otatu Magwa, Otatu Lizo Komfa, or Nada, Wachela, Owandi Savazi, people who were there marketing, all of these different departments, who gave me this support, I was probably like the youngest, in my team at the time, and they allowed me to be crazy on air. They allowed me to be myself, and I think I'm glad that the Metro gig did not work out, and I ended up with Umhlobo, because I got to know more about myself, through Umhlobo and NFM, going on tours, going to places I'd never been to before, Oma Holy Cross, to Pisana, to all of these places, and to embrace Indawo Nabantu, and also learning in the like, actually, people they need more from a radio personality than a person or zawuhlekisa okanye just entertain them. So yeah, let's not have another podcast on top of another podcast. Now
next
you'll be
week
out
we
there
are
trying to
getting
interview
more.
me. I see you.
And please, tell us your stories that you remember about Slyso and listening to Mhlobo. Let's just
Yes, please.
guys, please share. Yes.
Yeah, in the comments, and we will take some of those. Next week we will actually respond even to your questions as well, and all of that stuff. Thank you for that, Queen. Yeah. Let's have a great evening, Queen. Everybody, thank you for joining us. It's been beautiful.
Oh man. Ending it on a very good note. I love this.
Thank you, Queen. Thank you, everybody.
Bye, everybody.